All right, let's get started. Thank you, everyone, for joining CRIO's first ever annual Partner Expo event. We hope to have these every year as our partners program grows. So today, without further ado, is a recruitment support day. So we hope that from these short, quick, impactful sessions, you will, extract and learn about what our partner solutions are and how they're going to help you work smarter, not harder in CRIO. So first, we are going to introduce Paul Neyman from Areti Health, one of our partners, our recruiting partners. And let me just go ahead and spotlight. All right, take it away, Paul.
Awesome. Good morning, and thank you for having me. Let me share my screen. This is usually the hardest part about all of this. Let me see. Let me know, please, when it comes up. It should be up and running, right?
Yes, all good.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Good deal. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Paul Neyman. I'm one of the co-founders for Areti Health, and we are a full-stack AI recruitment solution that partners and integrates seamlessly with CRIO. Very honored to be here today. Let's jump right into it. First things first, why do we exist? To paraphrase JFK, we choose to do things not because they're easy, but because they're hard. Recruitment is very difficult. I'm sure all of you know this stats just kind of in the back of your mind. The majority of trials end up being terminated trials because they fail to recruit enough people. You usually spend about 1/3 of your time on a study recruiting compared to everything else. And the stats are only getting worse because the number of trials is increasing. And so you find yourself competing for the pool of people that isn't growing all that much. In the United States, it's only 4% of the US adult population. You find yourself competing study to study, site to site, and sometimes even within the site, you find yourself competing for these people to which study they would be a better fit for. And so it becomes critical to engage these people, find these people first, engage them as soon as possible, pre-screen them and enroll them into a study as quick as you can do it. The typical bottleneck is site response time from the moment people express their interest. And you hear this anecdotally all the time. I filled out a form, nobody got back to me for weeks or sometimes even months, and I lost all my interest. It is imperative to get those leads processed as quick as possible at the peak of their intent. But the sites simply aren't able to do it, not because they don't want to, but because you're stretched thin and overwhelmed. There's all these other things to do, like actually running a study. And so this is where we come in. We've designed an end-to-end AI workflow where we first do precision patient matching. We identify patients either from National Health Exchange, or we mine your EMRs, or we look into your CTMS, identify those that would be a good fit from the start. And so that already speed runs your enrollment. Then we reach out to them using generative AI. We call them, we text them, we email them, we talk them through Facebook Messenger and so on. Allow them to ask any questions they may have about the study. It's complete free-form interaction. We're able to negotiate and navigate pretty much any single question that is study related. We pre-screen them, so make sure that they are a fit for a study. And then we enroll them directly into your CTMS. So from the point of view of a CRC, everything happens automatically. The patients are located, they are reached out to, they're screened, and then we create appointments directly in CRIO. We create patient and subject entries where you can look up the entire interaction, what transpired, how these people responded on a pre-screen, were there any hesitations, were there any difficulties, did they change the answer mid-flow and so on, so that you, as a experienced CRC, can zero in directly there, decide whether this is a qualified potential, and then continue on. Now, as an additional benefit, if the patient is fully qualified, we can reach out onto the Health Exchange Information Network and pull their entire chart for you to review before you bring the patient on site so that you can minimize screen failures. So all of that results in a minimum of 10x lift over traditional recruitment, which is completely manual and very laborious. We have 95% accuracy with EMR matching. And then, of course, that accelerates your own operations and accelerates everything, the entire chain. And so these are just some of the examples of the networks that we work with today. You can see there's a variety of them by size and by specialty. Very proud to have them as partners. And we'll talk a little bit more, time permitting, about some of the case studies that we've assembled so far. Just some of the stats right off the bat, kind of 10x acceleration over diabetic neuropathy study, 11x over early Alzheimer, 9x over asthma. We just finished up a central campaign that we ran for a migraine study, and the site that we supported ended up being top enrolling site. So overall, the technology is impressively beneficial to everyone in this pyramid, from the sponsor, the CRO, to the sites. And of course, sites benefit from everything from, from the acceleration of the outreach to operational efficiency. And so today we focus on the two funnels of patient acquisition. One is what we call mass outreach. So we look into national exchanges where we have a view of about 250 million patients that we could identify and look for in the study. We mine your EMR. We look into your CTMS. So CRIO is a perfect example of that. Every time we come to a site to support a study, we say, look, you probably have thousands of leads that could be engaged, but you don't have the resources to call on them, but they previously participated in the study, or they previously shown interest and they could be a good fit. We'll throw them into the hopper. Let us run through them, identify a good fit, and then engage them and see if they will come into the study again. And then you have what we would call database leads, where sometimes in a study, a sponsor will acquire bulk leads, and we can reach out to them and again, vet them that they are indeed good, that the phone number is still there, that the owner hasn't moved, that their medical history is correct, and then qualify them and enroll them into the study. And then the other funnel is real-time engagement, which is sort of organic. This is where you have your leads coming from Meta, Facebook or Instagram, Facebook Messenger, or from your landing pages. So this is where you engage those leads day, night, 24/7, weekends, holidays, really nonstop, and we can scale as much as we need to with your campaign as your campaign scales. So the moment they fill out a form, we immediately begin that engagement. Everyone gets a customized message. We reach out multiple times. We set up a cadence where we try various approaches, from compensation to altruism to interest advancing medicine, so on and so forth. And so a little bit about precision matching. We look and focus on the study protocol. We run our patient matching algorithm. We established relationship with your PIs, and so we signed a consent with them. And through that, we're able to start pulling the records and identify both structured and unstructured data. So with the structured data, this is your custom fields and EMRs and everything else. But as everybody knows, EMRs tend to be, the hygiene leaves much to be desired. And so it is critical to look into unstructured data as well, which is PDF notes, text notes, images, handwritten notes, everything that allows us to identify this patient as a potential fit, and then again, begin that multi-touch cadence of engagement. And so the patient journey looks something like this. A lead is sourced, whether it came from EMR record or CTMS or some lead database, or an organically expressed interest, explicit interest. They filled out a form on the landing page, they filled out a form on Facebook. We begin that immediate engagement. We talk to them pathetically in their language. We support over 50 languages today. We do work globally. We're deployed today in Germany, Belgium. We're deploying in France and Poland. We've supported studies in APAC. We supported studies in Canada. And so we talk to them pretty much anything that they want to know. Roughly a quarter of the patients will want to ask questions. They're on the fence before they move on. We allow them to self-schedule. This is where integration with CRIO comes in again. We pull real-time calendar. We can set up things like primary coordinator and secondaries and so on, or a round robin maybe. We pre-screen them. If they happen to fall off, we'll try to recapture. So you were filling out, you were answering the questionnaire, and then the doorbell rang. Dogs barked, and you got distracted. We'll try to bring you back. And then if you're successful, we'll run a nurturing campaign to make sure you actually show up through the door. Like the most important part here is pulling you through the door. We are integrated with site tech, naturally integrated with CRIO. We do work with what we will call professional calendars, Nihilus, Google 365, Acuity scheduling, Outlook. We're working on Aptiv integration right now as well. So that kind of shows the variety of technology that we can support. And so what we've shown is that we can close recruitment in as short as 2 or 3 weeks. We top out at about 60% conversion rates. We have visibility into about 250 million patients with EMR records. This is actually obsolete. We're now up to, I think, 47,000 patients scheduled or so. We've completed 150 studies in 30 different therapeutic areas. And then the work hours saved. It's kind of hard to put a large estimate on it. Nobody will believe it. But really, if you think about it, if it takes about 20 minutes at a minimum for a chart review, and then you run your phone tag to reach out for 1 patient, so that's 3 patients, that's already an hour. So there is a massive savings of time and resources and effort applying AI and generative AI to do this. So we talked about patient experience. From any lead source, we go into an engagement, conversation, scheduling, and nurturing. And then for the side, we start with leads. We begin our outreach. We do scheduling. We perform complete automation as far as inserting all this data into your CTMS and providing you a dashboard with a real-time view of how your campaign is doing. And then we also handle special requests. So if anything is going sideways, if they're asking things that are not anywhere study related, we'll try to guide them back. But if we're unable to, we can exit out and do a warm transfer. And I think I'm almost out of time. Nikki, is that correct? Right? How many minutes do I have left? 3 minutes? Yeah.
Yeah,
3 minutes.
Good
3 minutes is good. We'll run through a couple of case studies here. Elite Clinical, for example, it's a sizable network. They run about 100 studies or so a year. We started with Facebook lead conversion, very targeted ads, great response on those ads. Today, we power pretty much everything for them, including working in the therapeutic area. So you can arrive at a site landing page and you can just ask what kind of studies you're running, and we'll try to figure out where you are a best fit. Early Alzheimer, we mined the EMR and identified 3,000 patients, ended up with scheduling 305 visits, all in a matter of weeks. This is an Eli Lilly study. I think they're still under observation. It's a very long period. But the response was overwhelming. And what's fantastic is that in this particular study, the average age was 60 to 80 years old, and they all engaged with the tech very well. So we often get questions like, how do people engage compared to a human? And the answer is yes, they engage universally well. And when we measured ourselves in demographics, we knew the demographics because we mined the EMR. We were equally distributed along across all ethnicities, from African Americans to Hispanic, Latino, non-Hispanic, so on and so forth. Which shows there is no bias in how we approach recruitment, and it works universally well. Asthma, same idea, mined EMRs. We actually identified about 1,500 leads, but ran through 1,000, and then we closed the recruitment again in a matter of weeks here. So massive acceleration in enrollment. Migraine study, this was a central campaign experience. Very unique experience for us, but we're very proud of having achieved that. Overall, as I mentioned, the site that we supported ended up being a top enrolling site. And we were now across everything from managing the outbound campaign to processing these people, engaging the database leads for the site and other sites that we supported, and then ultimately reporting all of this to the CRO and to the sponsor. All right, I think I'll pause here. I'm like 1 minute short, but I think that was good. All right. Are we addressing questions, Nikki, on this, or is it just
Yeah,
straight up
we have
presentation?
about a minute. Oh, it just turned to 15.
Okay.
But for those of you, if you do have questions, feel free to jump into the CRIO Partner Directory in the Help Center, find Areti Health's listing, and you can click the contact button to submit an inquiry. So thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.